We have Chad Lippert with D.A. Davidson joining us this morning via Skype, and we're talking about this week's stock market news. But before we get down to business, we were debating cat person or dog person. What are you?
Good morning, Victoria. Definitely a dog person. That being said, I'm an animal lover in general, but yeah,
Awesome.
definitely a dog.
That's nice to hear. All right, now let's get down to those questions. So the market was slightly down yesterday. What was it that influenced the market?
Yep, and that's right, Victoria. The Dow Jones was down 19 points yesterday, closed at 28,494. The S&P and the Nasdaq were also slightly down. Basically, news coming out of Europe with the continued coronavirus lockdowns that are starting to be seen there, and then concern over what the job report looked like here in the United States. So just a little bit off yesterday, relatively flat so far all week. In fact, we're looking to have one of the most tepid up weeks that we've seen year to date. So just really kind of a up and down week, but not a lot of movement in the end.
All right, and what is it that investors can expect today?
Kind of the same as what we've seen all week, Victoria. Right now, the futures have kind of wavered between being up a little bit and down a little bit. So relatively flat opening this morning. We do have some news coming out on retail sales and industrial production that we'll watch, but relatively muted day today.
All right, now let's switch topics here and focus on Montana medical savings accounts. What can you tell our viewers or share with them this morning about that?
Yeah, well, thanks. That's a great question. It's very timely because we're going into the fourth quarter of the year. Montana Medical Savings Account allow us to deduct up to $4,000 per person, so $8,000 on a joint return, to create an individual Montana Medical Savings Account. This money goes in, of course, you get the tax deduction, as I mentioned. It grows tax-free if used for tax-free on the state side, as long as it is used for qualified medical expenses, which is a pretty broad range and also includes medical insurance premiums and long-term care costs down the road. As always, you want to consult your legal and especially your tax professional on this one, Victoria, but Montana medical savings accounts are a good thing to use. One thing I'd mention also is you don't have to just put it in and let it sit there and grow for a long period of time. If you know that you've had medical expenses so far this year, you could put that amount into a medical savings account and pull it out prior to the end of the year and still take that deduction. Or as you go along, you have a $200 medical expense, it's not a reimbursed expense from somewhere else, you could go ahead and put that in the account, immediately pull it right back out and use that as a deduction. So just a tactic to consider for people as they head into the final quarter of the year.
Yeah, that's good to know and consider with all the stuff happening this year in relation to health and medical issues. I'm kind of looking at different options myself here just to be prepared. You never know anymore, right? All right, Ted, well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time this morning, and we'll see you back here in a few weeks. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Thanks, Victoria.
All right, we'll be right back after the break.